Welcome to the Video Outhouse.
Covering all the really important topics. It's Shop Talk on the Video Outhouse. My eardrums.
Hey kids, how you doing? Comic Book Man here. Welcome to Shop Talk. I've got the Outhouse gang with me, consisting of
Bo,
Dan,
and JR.
and of course Comic Book Man.
He's looking very spiffy.
Yes.
Thank you. Anyway, we got a question that actually I'm pulling out of my butt because I put questions up. I put a thing up on Facebook. It said send me questions, and I got stuff about Smurf sex. We're not going to talk about Smurf sex, guys. We're really not going to talk about it. You talk about it on Facebook if you want.
until the cameras are off.
But the three of us aren't going to waste 5 minutes on Smurf sex.
And I never liked the Smurfs.
But I got a
Always
question.
takes way more than
I got a
5
question,
minutes.
guys.
Guys.
Yes. Yeah.
What was your first comic book? Everybody remembers their first love. Everybody remembers their first sweetheart. What about your first comic book?
Gosh.
The first comic book I ever... I don't remember the first comic book I ever read.
You don't even remember the last
Okay,
one,
well,
but you
moving
were-
on.
I can remember two vaguely. One was an issue of Superman, where it was the guy who supposedly destroyed Krypton 1.5 million years ago. Dude, I have no idea who it was or what it was about. The only other one I can remember was an issue of Fantastic Four, where the very first page, it was Gladiator on the front, triumphant over the Fantastic Four. And the very first page
the John Byrne thing?
is Spider-Man
Yeah.
swinging through the city,
Okay.
and he finds all this stuff, and it turns out it's Mr. Fantastic. He's been stretched all over the place, and I fell in love with the Fantastic Four after that. So
Mine was probably an Archie book right off the top. But I will tell you this: when I fell in love with comics as a kid, World's Finest. You can probably attest to this when you were a kid as well. Those books, I would absolutely look forward to those. And these were the days when you'd go up to the machine, the comic book machine.
World's Finest was bi-monthly back then.
Yes,
Now
it was.
that I
Oh, yes, it
remember.
was.
The
That is
comic
correct.
book machine.
Yeah.
I
Because
have
the
no
com-
idea what that
You
even
had the
is.
chance.
The comic book machine?
No,
Oh, it's the greatest thing of all time.
he's ready to explain it to me.
It was okay. It was
It's
it was
a
a machine
kiosk
about
like-
this tall.
Yeah, about tall.
And you
Bigger
put
than
your
me.
change in it, and the comics were like sideways.
They
And when
were
they
lined
came
up.
out, they
Right.
dropped to the bottom.
Think-
so basically,
think of a
they weren't
vending
mint
machine.
anymore.
So you
They
automatically
would
get
be
them in their new
on like
use.
a big coil. Each
Yeah.
book was like this, and when you
Right.
turn the thing, the coil would turn and the comic
The
would
comic
drop
would
out.
drop, and it would basically be bent. You'd pull it out
And
as you
who
wrinkle it up.
but you
no-
didn't care
But nobody
then.
cared.
Like Snickers bars and
Yeah,
stuff.
Snickers
Because they're
bars
still
and stuff.
delicious
It was a
even
vending
after a
machine
fall.
for comic
and
books.
they came in all. There was one that had about 24 slots. It was a
Yeah,
real huge
huge.
one, huge one. And if stuff would drop, you'd get it, you take it, and you go, "Wow, I got a comic!" And it was like, "Oh my god, oh this is great!" And you
Well,
run.
the other thing with comic book machines is I remember them really, really well, was you'd have like 24 different slots that you could choose from, and you'd see that Justice League underneath there that you really wanted to get, and there were 3 Archies in front of it. And you go, I'm not going to buy a damn Archie comic
That
for
was
Justice
the problem.
League.
It wasn't
But
the same book. It
Yeah.
wasn't the
Yeah, it
same
was
book.
That's
it-
no
it-
good.
The guy that loaded up the vending machine, it was however the hell he felt like loading the thing up.
That's no good.
But we digress. World's
That's
Finest
no good.
Comics. I
Yeah.
fell in love with comics because of World's Finest Comics and all those imaginary stories. So that was it for me.
Jim,
Yeah.
they're all imaginary.
What?
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. Jim.
Lying heathen.
Getting verklempt again.
Dark Reign is based on a true story.
Alan Moore
My
said
life.
that. They're all imaginary
They're
stories.
all imaginary.
Thanks, Ellen.
My first comic, which I remember very well, I was with, and this is way back machine time, guys. I was with my grandfather. My grandparents used to live at 63rd and Loomis. On the corner of 63rd and Loomis, there was a drugstore. In that drugstore, my grandfather took me up there. Up on the wall was a rack of comics. They were clipped to the wall on a clippy thing. And I remember looking up there, and there was a Superman comic. I don't know the issue, but Clark Kent is hanging off the edge of a ledge. Okay, and Superman is floating in the air right next to him, and he says something like, "What's the matter, Clark? Do you need a hand?" And Clark is hanging there by his nails. That's the very first Superman comic I ever saw, and I knew who the character was for only one reason: George Reeves. George Reeves. I watched Superman on TV on Channel 9. George Reeves' Adventures of Superman, like crazy when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I loved that show, and when this is your testament for comic books and movies. Okay, when I went to go there to the drugstore and I saw that on the wall, okay, I made that instant connection, and that got me into comics. And I've been there ever since. Help, let me out. So that's mine. That's mine.
Thanks, fellas.
It's mine, dude.
Okay, I guess we're done then.
Wait.
He dug one out of the back of his head.
No. I remember the
Yes.
first comic I got that I stole accidentally
Oh, really?
Captain Action.
You think the statute of limitations is
It's what because the stories do remember. I was Captain Action. I was in the store. We were going grocery shopping. I had a copy of Captain Action. I thought it was really, really cool. I was flipping through it, and my mom and my dad said, "Come on, let's go."
So I shoved it under my shirt.
And I'm walking, and I got the comic book in hand. He said, "Come on, we gotta go." You know, and I go out and I get in the car and I go, I didn't pay for this.
I still have this. Oh my! Whatever shall I do?
And we were already leaving the store, so I'm like, well, then I can do it.
Okay, light
bad
fingers. That's
sunset.
wonderful. That's
I
wonderful.
couldn't go back
Thanks
in
for
there
that
already.
kleptomaniac story.
That's a touching story.
You know the moral of that
and now,
story?
and now today I'm stealing diamonds.
The moral of that story is, you know the store that I got that comic from?
No.
It's now
Went
a
out of
chur-
business.
It's now a church.
Oh, you can go there and steal some Holy Communion and
So,
some wine now.
so steal the crucifix. So that's it. We're done. That's Shop Talk. That was our first comic. I hope that your first comic is just as enjoyable and just as memorable. We were talking about comic book vending machines. I've said this for years. If anybody out there knows of a comic book vending machine,
Send
call
us
the
one.
store.
Yeah.
Call me, 773-881-HERO. I'll be happy to talk to you about buying one. I'd love to have one of those old comic book machines. Anyway, that's it. We're done. We're out of here. Until next time, this comic book man saying, bye!
Bye.